all seriousness, y'all, I think it's going to be the New England Patriots. I've been thinking about this. I think it's going to be the New England Patriots. I want to remind you, I was always high on Mac Jones. Going down to Carolina, not Carolina, Alabama, and Nick Saban, sent me down there, took the team.
Here we go. Was it the greatest speech of all time that they ever had?
I have never said that, and I would never say that about myself. Contrary to popular belief, I do leave it to others to toot.
It is absolute fact that he think that speech is why they won.
No. That's Paul Feinbaum. That's Paul Feinbaum.
You and Tom Brady are best.
That's Paul Feinbaum.
No,
that's me. That's not me. But here's the deal. They did say it was the greatest speech, but that's a different subject for another day. They did say it. I mean, you just ask them. You know what I'm saying? You should invite me down to talk to them kids. I'm trying to tell you, I'm a motivator, baby. I'm a motivator. Here's the deal, Marcus. Mac Jones, system quarterback, just a whole look. I'm not comparing him to Tom Brady. He's a rookie. I'm not engaging in that level of blasphemy. But I think about some of the adds that New England has added to their squad, okay? And then I think about the 8 to 9 dudes that returned on the defensive side of the ball. Mm-hmm. And then I think about how potent I anticipate their running game being. And then I get to the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins, and somehow, some way, I just look at this as being a situation where you might split during the regular season or whatever, but you got a chance to win a division. You win a division, then you're talking about 2 or 3 games with Bill Belichick coaching and Josh McDaniel running that offense. I understand that Buffalo with Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and the crew, and the job, that Sean McDermott is doing in Buffalo. Yeah. I get all that. I'm not sold on Miami because, to me, they don't even know who their quarterback is. Right. I don't care what I love Brian Flores, but I don't care what he says about Tua Tagovailoa. He's not sold on that yet. This dude is in the second year, and even though I got a lot of hope for that brother because I loved what he did when he was in college, at the end of the day, he's got to show us. It really comes down to Buffalo and New England in that division. And when I think about you having a quarterback who can make the right throws, because on the record, I've always been about that. I love Cam as an athlete. I've never been a fan of his as a passer. Right. You got to be able to pass the football when you are the successor to Tom Brady. And in Mac Jones' case, all he can do is pass because he ain't a runner. So when I look at it, I'm saying, I can't sleep on New England. They got a lot of the veterans returning. Nelson Aguilar and a few others, they picked up some pieces in the offseason. I think people are sleeping on the New England Patriots. Yeah. And that's where I'm at with it.
People are not sleeping on them. You just spent 3 minutes trying to convince your damn self. It's the Buffalo Bills. And it's because we saw them. We absolutely know what they are. We know Josh Allen. We know Josh Allen is an elite talent based on last year. He just damn near got $200 million to play quarterback.
Actually, it was $258.
Yeah, we know Stephon Diggs is an elite receiver.
Yes.
And this is where I got caught up last year with the Buffalo Bills. Didn't pay enough attention to what they did defensively. And look, I'm with you. I understand the amount of money that was spent, the identity in which Bill Belichick rebuilt this New England Patriots football team. But the Buffalo Bills are already ahead of schedule. They are already in the know about who they are as a football team. When I think about Mac Jones, and look, I'm with you. I'm happy about Mac Jones. He ended up in the right situation. I think he's a good football player. But Mac Jones ain't played Tre'Davious White yet. He ain't played Jordan Poyer yet. Micah Hyde wasn't the safety when he was throwing passes in the preseason. So I'm looking at Sean McDermott. And this is why I've been back and forth on this thought process because I give a lot of credence to Bill Belichick. Sean McDermott does the same damn thing. This is how the Buffalo Bills are built. And they wanted to address their run game and make things happen in that regard. So the bottom line is I get all of the sensationalism of Mac Jones. And I'm even one that said he needs to end up here and not in San Francisco. The Buffalo Bills are the best team in the
Well,
AFC
listen,
East. And I don't have to convince myself.
Well, listen. Well, let me say this to you. That's fair. I'm not going to even refute that. But I would remind you, you don't have to convince yourself of it because of what you saw last year. Right. Fair enough. What we must take into consideration, in my opinion, and this is why it took some convincing, meaning internally, me amongst myself, because I'm looking at Buffalo and I'm like, I like this, but I remember come playoff time, all I had to rely on was Stephon Diggs if I'm Josh Allen. You see what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, last year COVID, last year Cam Newton, last year 8, 9 different dudes refusing to show up because of COVID. That's not the case this year. Your defense, sparked and led by Dante Hightower, is back and throw. The defense is expected to be not good, but elite.
Yeah.
We understand that. So, okay, now we get that out the way. We got an elite defense. We got Bill Belichick coaching. And then even though I just traded Sony Michel, I'm not letting go of him if I'm not comfortable with what I got at the running back spot. Who do I have now? I got Damian Harris, okay? I'm looking at that guy. James White is still there, okay? I picked up Nelson Aguilar. Not Jacoby and Myers, the law firm, but Jacoby Myers, the receiver. I got to be convinced about him. I get all of that. Hunter Henry, you picked him up, all right? He's a free agent. Who do you got at the tight end spot? Janu Smith out of Tennessee.
Yep.
He's a free agent. I'm just looking at how this team is constructed. And then I'm looking at a guy like Mac Jones, and I'm thinking about the things that they're saying about him and all the requisite throws, the requisite reads, going through your progressions, et cetera, and how Bill Belichick coaches, particularly against divisional foes. Sean McDermott and Buffalo are to be the favorites. They're to be reckoned with. But something is telling me, you know what? We wrote New England off a bit prematurely. We looked at them last year, and we said, okay, Tom Brady's gone. That era is over. You might be right as it pertains to Super Bowls.
Yeah.
But as it pertains to the division crown, I'm not so sure. So I got to see more than 1 year from Josh. More than 1 year from Josh Allen.
And this is also Bill Belichick with a huge boulder on his shoulder after he saw what Tom Brady did. He never spends the most in guaranteed money.
Yeah.
No doubt. And that's given a lot of people pause. But what we fail, this is the realization I had to come to.
Okay.
What we fail to realize is that everybody in this division was trying to build themselves in the image to beat the Patriots.
Okay.
So this is not just as normal as we made $150 million worth of commitments to get our team better. We all talked about the devoid of talent. We all talked about what they didn't have.
Yeah.
Not defensively.
Yeah, that too, because we talked about the opt-outs. We knew that they were heavily affected.
I thought you were talking about before the opt-out.
Yeah, we knew they were heavily affected by not having personnel.
Okay.
The issue is that when you've been Bill Belichick and you've dominated this conference for so long, the teams in this conference are built in the same vein.
But let me throw. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.